Well, it's been a while since Al and I did this. Look through old photos throughout his life.
Well, I guess. Yeah, it's been months.
Now we are in the 2000s. You've got so many pictures from each year in this decade. We had to spend some time sorting through boxes and organizing everything. This is 2000, that one's 01, 02, 03, all the way through.
I don't think we need somebody's wedding that I can't even remember. Forget that one.
So we're finding some digital pictures if we're jumping back and forth between upstairs and downstairs. It's because we found some pictures from a few years ago, so we're gonna put them in where they belong.
If we could figure out where they belong.
Yeah.
Jesse helping redo a water wheel.
That's cool.
Maybe it might have been 2 water wheels before, I don't know. Built that one in the house down here in the construction zone.
Yeah, you've rebuilt a motorcycle and a water wheel.
Yeah, it was a dock I used to have right out here. That's before the log came down.
Before that flood?
Yeah, that's back when I had a wood bridge
Across the driveway?
down
Oh,
here.
cool,
Yeah,
man.
and this was probably the biggest flood I've ever had. Now there's a deck out here.
Yeah.
It's right outside here.
Yeah.
It would have been under the deck, I guess.
Jeez.
Sticky, see, that's the log that's across there now.
Wow.
That's when that log washed down,
Mm.
and this is where it got stuck.
This one out here that you were talking
That's
about?
that one right there.
Yeah,
That's where it ended up. It was going over the top of that. Yeah, that was the highest flood we ever had. It didn't wash the water wheel house away. It went over the deck right in front of it. I think that's down by the bridge. Beavers have been chewing on the trees even down there. Yeah, this is down where I have logs now.
Oh.
And the water went all
Whoa.
way across that. That's where you
Chop
make
wood.
lumber and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it went right over that.
I can't imagine that whole area being full of water like that.
It was a lot. And this is afterwards. What was left of the dam washed out most of it. We're going to rebuild the dam now after that big flood. Putting in these gabions. There's a good picture of the first layer down.
That looks like a lot of digging.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of, I think we put 30 tons of rock in these wire cages. It's held very good.
Yeah.
Hasn't washed out now. This is getting up in the next second layer.
So this is just like classic chain link fencing?
It's yeah, it's wire, stainless steel, I think, and you wire them all together. They come laying down flat, and then you fold them out. You leave the top off until you get them filled with rocks, and then you wire the top on, and then it's good. I had a friend of mine do the rock hauling and got the gabions. I paid him to do all the work. Well, I worked alongside him. He even hired a couple other people. He dumped the 30 tons of rock down by where you cut lumber, and I loaded it in my pickup. I backed my pickup right up close enough so we could throw the rocks in. Moved them all by hand. That was a lot of work. I'm not sure where I got those rounds.
Those are awesome
They're
rounds.
somewhere on the property here, I think.
Jeez, that looks like a hemlock. I'm not the only one who likes to cut
Yeah,
giant
well,
trees.
I used to. I wouldn't be doing that nowadays.
Do you think you rolled those into the back of the truck?
Yeah, I was probably backed up to a bank somewhere. I think they might have come from up above here. Yeah, and then I bought myself a toy.
Oh, is that still over there?
This is the one that's still down there. It's a 1937 Caterpillar. Only thing I got older than me. I used it for several years, once in a while. Smoothing out the driveway, and I pulled a bunch of logs out. One of the brake clutches, I think it's just connections broke or something. So I can only steer in one direction. So if I wanted to turn one way, I'd have to put it in reverse. It wouldn't be that hard to get it, but it needs new hydraulic cylinders here. These leak real bad. And that clutch connection. Yeah, it was a little hand crank. It wasn't too hard to start, really. Looks like building another bridge with the help of Rhonda. I don't know how much help she was.
So this is after one of those floods. The bridge got wiped out.
Yeah, I forget which time this was. I rebuilt it several times before I finally just put in culvert.
Yeah, it's a lot of work every time one of those floods comes through.
Yeah, there's Paco back in his better days. The thing that's just right outside the door now.
Oh.
That's when he was in good shape, before he got diabetes. I had him outside by the leaning tree out there for a few years, and his ants got in his legs, so I had to amputate his feet. And I brought him in undercover. That's Annie in her younger days.
Did you watch her grow up?
Yeah, she was around for, I think, 13 years. She was around.
Could you identify her by a certain marking, or she just...
She'd just come up to me.
Oh.
She knew the place.
Wow.
She's the one that got stranded in a snowstorm. I don't know what happened to her mom. She was pretty young, not even a year old, and a couple feet of snow or something. She couldn't get around very good, so we threw her some apples, and then she would sleep out in the garage at night, get out of the snow.
Really?
I'd open the door in the morning, and she'd jump up, and I'd jump up. I'd forget she was out there. She hung around through the winter. We fed her all winter, and she just kept coming back for 13 years.
Wow.
There's some relatives, niece's son, my other niece's daughter. That was the night before. That was the next morning.
That's cool. That looks comfortable. That's just right out here.
Yeah,
right?
it's
By
the fire pit right out here.
Yeah. How long did you have Magic for?
She lived 19 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's buried right up there. You might have seen that little statue.
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. That's where she's buried.
How long after Magic passed away did you get
Dipstick?
Dipstick?
Dipstick was here when Magic was still here, alive.
Okay.
Yeah, for a year or two. They didn't get along real great, but
Yeah.
they tolerated each other. Dipstick was fine, but Magic was very exclusive, independent. She didn't like people. She would hide when anybody came. Yeah, Magic was in bad shape for a while
Oh, really?
before she died. And she had this horrible cancer thing on her head. I kept her as comfortable as I could. I wasn't going to take her to a vet. That would have probably killed her, the stress of that.
Yeah.
She quit eating about 3 days before she finally died, and she was mostly an outdoor cat. I fixed a cat box for her in here, and she used for a while, but then she wasn't eating, so didn't need that. I made her a little bed over by the wood stove. It must have been wintertime, because I kept the fire going all the time. Give her a little water dish. She would drink water for a while, but then she got so she couldn't even lift her head up. So I dipped my finger in the water, and she'd lick that. And she never stopped purring. And I'd sit with her for a while. I knew she was going. I sat with her and petted her for a while, and then an hour later I went back, and she just went to sleep by the stove. It was an old water wheel.
Oh, you got the caps on the sides.
Yeah.
Every time I think I've seen every version, there's a new one that comes up.
Yeah, I went through a lot of water wheels.
Do you remember what the sides were made out of to
Oh.
keep the water from splashing out?
Just wood.
Okay.
Yeah, not plywood. Just I think I used cedar. There was a big wind that blew down a bunch of trees, and so I pulled him out with Milo, my cat, and then hired this guy to come and take him to the mill. He had a self-loader. It wasn't a real big load, but I think I only ended up with like $400 worth out of it. This used to be my cook stove wood pile. I call it the March pile. And I'd have it stacked up here to almost to the top. That was about half full there. And then I wouldn't touch it until March. And I'd have nice dry wood for cooking in the spring. Building the greenhouse.
Wow.
So I first built
that-
it. I built it out here on the
Oh, wow.
garage roof.
How long did you keep it out there?
Quite a few years.
Had a lot of stuff planted up there.
Well, I guess. Didn't remember all that. Potting benches and everything. Ice.
Whoa, that's
There's some ice on the water wheel.
crazy. Oh my gosh, that's a big freeze.
That was cold. Ice on the phone.
Wow.
It was pretty much frozen over all the way across that year.
That's cool.
Just a little open water, just down by the dam. It's a lot of water coming down the spring. Yeah, I used to have a nice bare yard. It's a jungle out there now. Yeah, I used to have it nice and cleared out up the spring there. I think there were 7 little waterfalls. It had going. Jesse's first car.
Hey, that's like my first car because it has a different color on it.
Yeah.
Two-tone.
Honda. I'm not sure if it started out. I don't think it started out that way. I think I had to replace that.
So you must have been 15, 16 years old here?
Yeah, somewhere in there. And he traded that on a Volkswagen No, I didn't trade it. He gave it back to me and bought a Volkswagen Jetta. And I drove it for quite a while. It's
Really?
a good little car. Getting into baseball season now. Jesse's Little League team. He was in Little League for years. Jesse pitching, I think.
He was a pitcher?
Pitched, played first base, outfield. He played most of everything, but he liked pitching the best. He was pretty good. They won a lot of games. Oh, this must be Molly's 8th grade graduation. One of her graduations. That's the first car I bought for Molly.
Looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah, it was nice, but I had troubles with it a lot. It had those 3 valve deals. It was always burning a valve or something. It was hard to keep running. Well, that's where Molly wrecked her Prelude.
Fender bender.
Yeah, I think it was her fault too. It's in Vancouver somewhere. Oh, we patched it up. This was Molly's first boyfriend
Okay.
in high school
Did they last a while?
until he died.
Oh my gosh.
He had demons,
Oh,
and it really affected her.
yeah.
It was sad.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Oh, this was after Jesse moved in. Nancy called one time and said, I can't handle him. Can he come live with you? Sure. I think this was his graduation party. He had a whole bunch of people, a
Yeah.
bunch of kids, high school kids. Oh, I said, yeah, that's fine. Have a big party as you want. Just, I'm not buying any booze for underage kids. And they have to drop the car keys in a basket here, and they don't get them till next morning. No problem. We had a great party. Made this thing in the fire pit out of a bunch of driftwood. I had this little sticky pads. All these teenage kids write down frustrations or whatever they wanted to get rid of. They were in the head and stick them on this thing, and then we lit it off, and that supposedly took care of all their troubles. Waited till after dark, and then we lit it off.
High
Oh,
school.
this is Jesse's high school graduation. I remember sitting up in the gym way up here. Man, it was 110 degrees. I think that's Jesse there. Might be him getting the diploma there. This was Molly's graduation.
Oh, okay.
Maybe this one was the one where it was so hot. Maybe it was both of them. I don't know. And this was a girl I went out with for a while, Betty, and her 2 kids. She was a neat lady, but she was too busy. Didn't have time for me.
These are taken at her house?
Yeah, I used to go up there for weekends. I think she only came down here once. This was Karen, that I went out with for a while. Cute little thing. It's a good one. Shows how big she was. That was Patty. She lived here for a while. And we kept in touch for years. You'd go see her in Vancouver once in a while, and she lived there, and then she just kind of disappeared. This was Linda. She lived with me for a while. And then she left. And then she came back and lived with me some more. Said she was going to stay forever the second time. Never leave. Okay. I liked her. And cook. Oh, she was a good cook. This must be about the time I met Holly. I still see every week.
Her and her Basset.
Yeah, she used to raise Basset hounds. Good picture of Holly. She lived in this trailer for a while. Bought some acreage over there. Oh, Stephanie's here. This was the beginning of Stephanie, I guess. We were together a lot of years, off and on. Stayed best friends till she died. Stephanie was a good cook.
Yeah, it looks like it. She looks very happy in all these pictures.
Yeah, she had a couple of different sides.
Yeah.
Either really happy or really not. She had PTSD and stuff she was in the Army for a while. This is one of the bike runs. This was my bike here, the gray one.
Oh, yeah, I remember. That's the one that you crashed and restored.
Yeah, and that's up at Ariel Tavern, another one of the runs. It's only where we started from at Nick's. I think it's over in Ridgefield. Oh, this was over at this guy's house. He had a big party after this bike runs we had every year.
How would you guys schedule and coordinate these rides?
Well, it was like an annual thing. When Jimmy was still alive that owned Nick's, he rode and he'd organize a run every year. That's the old shovelhead. It's Magic sitting on it. Didn't show up very good. And another bike run. More bikes. More bikes. up at Ariel. More biker pictures. Party. Oh, this was down at Long Beach. That was an interesting bike. It was made out of an old balm.
I can see both tires now. That's
There's
crazy.
a motorcycle under there. And for a while, the owner of Nick's Tavern down here, he owned the tavern down in Long Beach. So we used to have a run every summer between the taverns. We'd run down and spend the night. He'd rent the whole motel across the street for people to stay in.
Wow.
And that was his tavern down at the beach. There'd be 100 bikes or more. That was Nick's West, they called it. It was the 20th anniversary of the eruption of the mountain. So May 18th, I rode up there on the bike. There was still a little snow around, a lot of snow in places. But I rode up there to celebrate the 20-year anniversary. This must have been Cougar, yes, or maybe Ariel. Can't read the sign. No. Cougar, I guess. Yeah, that was Cougar. Oh, this was on the way to the coast. Nick's West. Ilwaco Tavern somewhere. Oh, that's Far Lake, one of their parties. Memorial Day or something. It's a good one on my bike there.
You put in a lot of miles on this bike. Looks like.
Yeah, looks like it. More bikes at Nick's. There's a couple of his good friends, John and Marilee. They watch your videos sometimes.
Oh, really?
I surprise them to see themselves on there. He doesn't like his picture taken, but that's okay. People I can't remember. People I'd rather not remember. I was camping on my 40 acres in Arizona. It was my nephew's and his girlfriend. After he died, I bought it from her. Helped her out with money. It was neat property. It was hilly and it had pretty good sized pinyon pines and juniper on it. It wasn't like flat bare desert. There were a couple of dry washes that went through, but it was kind of hard to get to. 20 miles off of Route 66, dirt roads, and if it rained at all, it was really hard. There'd be big mud holes. We had this little campsite set up. I stayed in there several days. Nobody around anywhere. Just one antelope would come through, but it did get cool at night, and it was windy at times. Otherwise, it was pretty neat property. Had a lot of different cactuses on there. I think that's a barrel cactus, prickly pear, cholla, teddy bear cholla. It'll jump out and bite you. That's a different view of where I camped.
Yeah, it's like going to a different planet down there.
Yeah, that's one of the views from one of the higher spots. And the Grand Canyon is right up here. The Vermilion Cliffs, I think they call them over there. And it was only like 20 miles, I think, direct to the south rim.
Whoops.
Yeah, that was my nephew's girlfriend.
Okay.
Lived in Kingman, and I bought the property from her after my nephew died, Linda.
Oh, she's the one who was into horses?
Yeah,
I wanted
she
to
had a
start-
couple of horses. So very nice lady. Finally drove over the ET highway on the way home. This was inside of that camper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was neat. It was pretty cozy. It was big enough for two.
So this is making the drive from here to that property in Arizona and then back.
It's a long drive to get down to the southern part. And they had this camper sitting out back after this. It was a year or two or something. And we had big snow, and the snow just collapsed it.
No way.
Yeah. This is when Jesse was living down in Arizona. I'd go down and visit him.
What made him move down there?
Well, his friend moved down there. He used to hang around with a lot. He kind of moved down there together. And then Jay moved on to North Carolina or somewhere. And Jesse decided he liked it, I guess, and stayed. This looks like on a trip home from Arizona. It's out on the Columbia River. I think up by the Dells Dam. Probably my last night of camping before I got home. Oh, there's some of that old camper again. Trip to Arizona in 2008.
Is this your current truck?
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, this must be where I was pretty new. Yeah, this was the first trip I took with it to Arizona. I remember. Took Stephanie down this time.
It still hasn't gotten caved in yet?
No.
Okay, that was later.
Yeah, no, that was after Stephanie got here.
Okay.
This was coming up out of Death Valley.
Whoa.
One of the little side roads you can take. That's one of my favorite camp spots, Lake Mojave. Usually there was nobody there if you got there during the week. Yeah, these are all property. There was that same campsite. Camped with Stephanie there. When Stephanie heard we were going to the desert and stuff, she said, what are we going to do about campfires? No wood in the desert. I said, don't worry. And we never spent a night in the desert without plenty of firewood. You can always find it around. No, well, that was on my property, and and there was a lot of dead trees there. But some of the other places where it doesn't look like there's anything, you can always scrounge up something. I even kept records of trips and where I stayed and what I bought for gas. And I left on March 2nd. I had credit cards too if I needed them, but I generally took a bunch of cash. 26 days this time. Been in the desert for almost a month. And came through a blizzard on government camp.
Whoa.
Heavy snow. Got home in a downpour. 27 days, 190 gallons, 3,400 miles, 17.6 gallons. And I probably stayed in motels too, off and on. Oh, Philippines.
All right.
Oh boy, this was the girl I went to see. We'd been writing for about 3 years back and forth. The guy that lived down in the trailer down here was renting the trailer. He introduced me kind of, and I think he gave her my address. I think she wrote first, and then we just started writing back and forth. And he was wanting me to come over there and meet, and so finally, after 3 years of writing, I went over to meet her. I spent 6 weeks with her. This is when I first got there. Half her family met me at the airport, Vancouver, BC first, and then to Hong Kong, and then to Cebu. So it was a long day or two. And we finally got there, and the van broke down, and it was like hot. I wasn't used to heat.
Yeah.
This was like March. I was coming from nice, cool Washington to 80, 90 degrees there. This when we finally got there, that was on the porch of the little cabin that she had lined up for us to rent. And so we had a big party on the porch with her family. I'd never met anybody over there.
Yeah.
I just went over by myself.
Did all the family live together in the house, or they just
They lived up in it was Upper Liloan and Lower Liloan, and the family had like a compound up above, a mile or so. And then Julita and I stayed down in the cabin on the sea. This was the beach right in front of the cabin. Beautiful spot. And it was a lot cooler down there too by the water. It had air conditioning in the little cabin and a shower and running water and stuff. Julita couldn't handle air conditioning, so I ran it as little as possible.
How do you say her name? Jolita?
Julita.
Julita.
She didn't even know what her real name was because she'd never had a birth certificate. And so she'd been living as Julieta all these years. She was 40, early 40s, I think. And she always thought she was Julieta. To start getting her papers and stuff to come to the U.S., we had to first get a birth certificate, which meant a couple of trips to the city and a lot of hassle, and paperwork's hard to get over there. You have to go through so many different things. Anyway, we finally got her birth certificate, and her name was Julita, not Julieta. She was kind of surprised at that. Beautiful country, beautiful people.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle the humidity. I couldn't live there just because of the humidity. I was looking out the front of the cabin.
Oh, so that's like the beach out
This
there.
is the beach, yeah. $26 a night or something. Pretty cheap. Compared to here. There wasn't really any kitchen in the place where we stayed. There was a coffee maker or a hot water thing that heat up a hot water for coffee. When we got hungry, you just walk down the street a block or two, and people would have stuff out in front of their house that they've cooked and stuff, and you just pick up what you want and stick it in a plastic bag and walk it back home. This was on the next island over. Dumagetti was the name of the town. If you wanted to do any major shopping or anything, you had to take the ferry across the Tenon Strait. And you take these little jeepneys and three-wheelers around. Nobody had cars over there. It was real cheap for buses and everything. We ate Jollibees a couple times. That's the Philippine version of McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think I heard they started some over here in this country just this last year. Really popular over there. And this was where we got the ferry go across. This was one of the rough days.
Dang. Yeah, it looks a little choppy.
Yeah. In fact, I think they stopped the ferries for a while until it calmed down a little bit. So we had to wait until it died down. Yeah, there's a picture of the ferry.
Oh, they're putting a bike on there?
Yeah, they were trying to get that. Just a narrow plank, and the boat's going up and down like 8 or 10 feet.
Oh,
They got it on there. They were used to it.
Yeah.
And then they had these outriggers that went out to stabilize it. And these were all strapped together with bamboo strapping and stuff. I don't think they used any screws or nails. And riding across the boat, they'd be groaning. You wonder if it was going to hold together. But it did. It had little engines down in the back. They made them cross all right. Swimming in the beach, you didn't want to go out more than 20, 30 feet or so. And the current would take you away forever. And then there was a guy that lived a couple hours away. I'd gotten his name from Stu that was living in my trailer. The guy was from Tacoma. He was an ex-Marine, and he'd lived over there for a long time. And he invited me to come stay with them for a while. So we went up there and spent a week or so. He lived right on the ocean too, and beautiful big old house.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, he was building a sailboat in his front yard. Didn't have any pictures there. I was building it all by hand with help from a Filipino craftsman. And just last year, 2 years ago or something, he finally finished it. He was going to sail around the world, or at least up to Norway and where he had friends and stuff. And he finished it and launched it, had it out here, all packed. He had his suitcases all ready to go. He was going to take off the next week, and had a heart attack.
Oh, man. Wow.
And died. So sad.
Yeah.
Lon and his wife Vinny and their daughter Maddie. This, I think, is Cebu City. Big city, very polluted. Doesn't really show there, but it was smoky. And most all the little jeepneys and taxis, most of them were diesel. So, and these are little three-wheel, mostly Hondas. Like Honda 50s or Honda 90s. Honda 90s were about the biggest they had, I think. And they'd get 8 or 10 people in the seats and hanging on.
Wow.
It's amazing amount of people that get in those things. That was the street. Went down from where we were staying. Then we changed over to a different cabin. Oh, after we got back from Lawns, this was the second cabin we stayed at. Didn't have air conditioning, I don't think. It had grass roofs. Inside you could look up and you could see light coming through in little places.
Really?
It would rain hard and rain never came in.
Wow.
They knew what they were doing, I guess.
Whoa,
That was one of the sunsets. Oh, they have beautiful sunsets. And we looked out kind of to the west where we were staying. So that was her mama. She was 90-something, I think.
Wow.
And just trucked around all over the place. Came by almost every morning. Laundry? Laundry? I don't know if we had any dirty clothes we wanted to wash. My jeans had never been so clean. Once she got done stone washing them. They really used stones too.
Wow.
Wow, man, jeans were so clean. And this is one of the dive resorts. They had a kind of a restaurant there. We'd eat there quite often. You get dinner for two and a couple of drinks, and I think it was something like $7 for everything. Julita's pig lived under the front porch of her house. Huge thing. I don't know how many 100 pounds it weighed, but it was big. He was a pig farmer. Made money by having piglets and selling them. That was her dad. He was real shy. I never met him until I think the night before I left, when everybody was together for big dinner. He was a minister or assistant minister or something at the local church. They were always sweeping in front of the house. Sweep up all the leaves that came down in the last day. That's about it for Philippines.
Wow. So it didn't end up working out in the long run.
And then we went, after we got a birth certificate, then we went through a whole bunch of stuff to get a passport. I think I was back here by the time our passport came through. And then the final thing she had to do was go to Manila to get a visa. The problem was she'd been married briefly and hadn't been divorced. We talked about it a lot, and she said, oh, they won't notice. As soon as they got married, her husband left her for a woman with 3 kids. She didn't consider herself even ever being married. So she thought there wouldn't be any record of it or anything. So she went to Manila to get her visa, and they looked her up her records and said, well, you're still married. And so they wouldn't give her a visa. So then we started going through divorce proceeding things. And I gave her a lawyer a bunch of money. It's very hard to get a divorce in the Philippines, almost impossible. National law thing, the local Catholic church, just the other things you have to get approved before you can get a divorce. And I kept sending money and nothing was happening. I gave her a lawyer money before we left. This will be plain, this will take care of everything. And I got home and he wanted another $500-600. And finally I just said, well, and nothing had happened. There was no progress being made or anything. Finally I just said, It hurt to say no and all that, but yeah, it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
Too much for me to handle.
Yeah.
So I called it off.
So after all those years of chasing women in the States, you tried to take it international.
Take it halfway around the world. That didn't work either.
Thanks for going through that with me, Al.
Oh, thanks for doing the videos. I'm sure my grandkids will love it someday.
I hope so.